they'll lynch you. But he did, and he laughs at
Hello and a happy Saturday to you all, Russ and the West Ham Network. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. Obviously, we play Arsenal tomorrow. Anton's going to do a little preview. We'll have our starting 11s. I'll be live from outside the London Stadium tomorrow morning as well. Keep an eye on the channel and make sure you hit that notification and select all so you don't miss a single show. Like last night, myself and Anton did the late show. Irish Tommy was working, so we took over and we did a whole show about the mass exodus at West Ham, and it was quite a heated show. It was really good, actually. Loads of people in the chat, talking about, we did polls about the likes of Lanzini leaving and Paqueta and Skamaka and all those types of things. So make sure you go back and check that out. That's on the network. Loads of stuff happening next week as well. Obviously, we'll be doing some a major channel announcement as well on Tuesday, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. But we've got the daily show. A few transfer rumors. It's like a rumor roundup, as I like to do them occasionally, where it's all rumors. And as I said, it's not. We haven't made these up. They've been reported elsewhere, and all we're doing is aggregating it for you to save you having to look through it yourselves. So let's start off with strikers. Let's talk about strikers. And the reason why we still talk about rumours is, the recruitment drive, the scouting, all that type of stuff is still underway, despite the fact that obviously our position in the league is precarious. And so there's still obviously recruitment, whether it's Mr. Moyes in the summer or a new manager. They have dossiers of all these players provided by, in terms of Rob Newman and stuff and the various scouts, Grant Holt and people like that. But apparently West Ham are reportedly keen on signing the Brazilian striker Pedro at the end of the season. He has been in splendid form for Flamengo this season and has 14 goals in 15 appearances across all competitions this season. A report from Football Insider claims the Hammers are looking to sign him. He was part of the Brazilian squad during the World Cup in Qatar, and Pedro has a big future ahead of him. Obviously, we're desperately needed in terms of reinforcement. We spoke about Antonio and Skolmaki yesterday in terms of the late show, in terms of what we think that they're going to be leaving in the summer. And so, our strike force has been largely underwhelming this season. So we need a player who can basically find the back of the net consistently. Pedro's 25. He's got technical ability and goals in the final third. He has the opportunity to play in the Premier League. Maybe one too attractive for him to not take on, and maybe move to West Ham. Maybe the next step up in his career. He may well see West Ham as a stepping stone potentially before going on to maybe a bigger Spanish club or something like that. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see the fee that Flamengo will be looking at in terms of letting Pedro leave, considering someone who's so hot in form at the moment. But obviously we need to secure our Premier League survival until we can start attracting potential top talent, future top talent such as Pedro. But interesting to see that we're linked with him. And also was linked recently with Roque Jr. as well, the Brazilian wonder kid, which we might talk about in another video. Who else have been linked with? We'll be linked with a few more defenders, both Belgian defenders, and one we could be playing against if we get through to the next round. Obviously, we played them in the group stage in terms of Anderlecht, but apparently we're one of 3 clubs closely monitoring Anderlecht defender Zeno de Bast. That's according to several Belgian news outlets. 19-year-old centre-back has over 50 appearances to his name for Anderlecht and has recently burst into the Belgian national side under current. At one time we were looking at him as a potential West Ham manager, Domenico Tedesco. You said potato, I said potato. But we were looking at him once as a potential manager in terms of a next manager for West Ham, but he's now currently the Belgian manager. De Bast has played. He played in both the Europa League group stages games against us this season, and apparently he's wanted by us, Leeds, and Brighton. And we've been following his performances very closely. At the moment, he forms a very strong duo with former Spurs defender Jan Vertonghen, and has been called up by the Belgian national side now. He's broken into that. Still under contract until mid-2025. Has a value on transfer market of just over almost 9 million quid, which seems very, very cheap. And as I said, he's played 52 games with Anderlecht's first team. So, 19, not too bad. At the age of 19, that's not too bad at all. I mean, for me, he's got the stewardship of someone like Jan Vertonghen, obviously formerly of Tottenham with Premier League experience, a very positive role model. And, maybe he may well give him some words of encouragement to move to the Premier League. And at 19, I think, and this is what we were saying before about, players and a lot of the players who didn't make it into the 21s, like Elise and people like that, you can go to Belgium and get someone who's got European experience. He's got league experience. He's got over 50 games under his belt already at the age of 19. That's unfortunately the way it's going, unfortunately. And as I said, someone like De Bass could be an interesting one for us as well. So keep an eye on that. As I said, we could well be playing them in the semis if both us and them both get through. Because obviously we're drawn against, we're in that side of the draw, aren't we? If we get past Ghent and they get past AZ Alkmaar, they were 2-0 up. They won 2-0 at their home, the home leg. They've improved a lot since apparently we've played them in the group stages, says Mikey, our resident Belgian fan. Another Belgian defender we're linked with is the Juventus defender. And apparently we've overtaken several Premier League rivals in the bids to sign Juventus defender Connie de Winter this summer, according to several reports. The Belgian first joined the Juventus under-17s back in 2018 and since worked his way up through the ranks to become a feature of their reserve team. He's currently on a season-long loan at Empoli and to gain first-team experience. He's had 11 Serie A starts and 2 substitute appearances and has been attracting interest from England. Calcio Mercato, my favourite Italian media outlet, has recently credited the Irons with an interest in the 20-year-old who's valued at around 13 million quid, claiming they were ready to knock at the door of Juventus for him, but weren't alone in their pursuit, with also Southampton and Palace also monitoring the situation. Now, though, apparently, according to Tutto Juve, West Ham are still very much keen on De Winter and have overtaken our Premier League rivals whose interest has slowed down. Roy Hodgson replacing Patrick Vieira is a potential reason for this, but it's stated that the veterans side are no longer attracted as they once were. So that could be good news. He's 6'2". He's a strong centre back and has been lauded by Juventus former vice president Pavel Nedved, and adds a physical presence to a back line, which is something I think we need, particularly maybe someone like Bono coming to the end of his maybe time at West Ham potentially. So we could definitely consider making an offer. He ranks in the 98th percentile for clearances among players in his position across Europe's top 5 leagues over the last year. No nonsense defender, isn't afraid to clear it if it needs to, but also he's got an 85% pass accuracy as well, so good composure in the ball. He's a Belgian under-21 international, so could bring lots of versatility, can play in a number of positions, including right back and also in defensive midfield as well. So, that's attributes of obviously very, very useful for the modern day manager in terms of not just one position, but in several positions. So maybe De Winter is coming for those of you who are Game of Thrones fans. I am not. And lastly, a goalkeeper. We spoke about goalkeepers in the show yesterday. We spoke about Ariola's frustration about not becoming a first teamer, not being the number one choice and maybe looking to leave to become number one somewhere. Obviously, Fabianski's coming to the end of his current contract. He does have another year option added onto that, which I imagine the club would probably would okay. But we have been linked with several goalkeepers. Obviously, we're linked with the Valencia goalkeeper. Is he Moldovan? He's one of the smaller Eastern European countries is international. Janios, I won't pronounce his surname, but someone did phonetically spell it out for me in the comments, so thank you. But apparently we've been linked with the Sevilla goalkeeper, highly rated Sevilla goalkeeper Bono, as we've reported actually, I think it was a few months ago apparently, but apparently it's all come back up again. 32-year-old obviously caught the attention of several European clubs after helping Morocco get to the semi-finals of the World Cup last year. making them the first national African nation to reach that stage. He obviously starred more recently in Sevilla's 2-2 draw with Man United in the quarterfinals, and he's a very good goalkeeper. We know he's a very good goalkeeper. He's actually found himself behind he's currently number 2 really at Sevilla to Marko Dubrovic in the pecking order, and very similar to the Areola Fabianski sort of dynamic. The Sevilla manager, Jose Luis Medilibar, prefers Marco in the league fixtures and Bono to the European ones, and so Fabianski and Areola. So it's the same situation there. But according to the Spanish media outlet Mundo Deportivo, West Ham are ready to rival Leeds for the signature. Bono's entourage apparently have been scouring the transfer market for his next destination. They note that Villarreal have registered an interest in the shot stopper, along with Real Sociedad, Valencia, and also Roma. However, Bono is allegedly keen to switch to an English club and could maybe prefer to join West Ham with his Moroccan international counterpart, Naya Faged. As mentioned, also Leeds potentially could be a destination. There's talk of Messier maybe moving to Chelsea. I think if Moyes is still in charge, I think we may put a bid in for him, because he always talks very highly about Messier as a goalkeeper when we play Leeds. Obviously, I think we could bring in a younger goalkeeper, but I mean, I think he's 30. I mean, Bono's 32. Lucas Fabianski is 38 next week, I think. I think Areola is about 30, so it's not really a new goalkeeper, but maybe Areola might want to move on. Maybe he's not getting the game time he thought he was going to when he first signed for West Ham. Fabianski coming to the end of his career. Bono could come in and definitely play for a good 4 or 5 years. Do a similar thing to Fabianski. I think we got Fabianski about 4 or 5 years ago. He's about 33, 34 when he came in, and has played for many years as our number one. Maybe Bono could do the same. I don't know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that little sort of daily show when you eat your cornflakes or eating your bacon roll. Something to tide you over. But we'll be back with all the match day content coming up very, very soon. So make sure you keep an eye on the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you for all that. As I said, I'll be match day morning outside London Stadium tomorrow morning. I don't know what time, what time I get out of bed. But yeah, anyway, you can make sure you don't miss it if you hit the subscribe button. Maybe become a channel member. We did our last draw, our members draw for April yesterday. Joan won a signed Tony Cottee notebook. So well done, Joan. Let us know. We can send it to you. This for May and June, we've got signed West Ham squad shirts. So one for June, one for May, one for June. So if you want to get entered into that draw, just got to become a channel member. That's it. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you irons. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.